They want me to change, they want me to change, but I ain't changing. Nah, I remain.
And you are now tuned into another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio in conjunction with Beautiful Machine Magazine, as well as the mighty Nerd DJs Radio. You already know, man. Week after week, month after month, hour after hour, we only rock with legends around here. And today is absolutely no exception. We have one of the most impressive resumes in the history of working that you will ever hear. One of the most dedicated to the city of Detroit that has ever walked the galaxy. Let me introduce you to Mr. Roy Mccallister Jr. How you doing, King?
I'm blessed, sir. Thank you so much for that introduction. I really appreciate it. How you doing, brother? Y'all?
I'm doing good, man. How's your family?
Now, everybody's blessed, man. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay. Where does your journey start? Do we start with the army? Do we start before that? What you went to McKenzie, right?
Went to McKenzie High School, graduated from there, went to Eastern Michigan University, got my bachelor's degree in criminology, criminal justice. Left there, came on the Detroit Police Department, was laid off, spent a year and a half, was laid off for about 5 years. I went into the military at that time and came back, stayed with the reserves, and became the commanding officer of Detroit Homicide Section. And like I said, I stayed at that. We got activated doing Operation Desert Storm, and I was there for 3 years. Became the regional commander of the 5 northern provinces of Iraq, and also was part of the team to assist with capturing Saddam Hussein. And we just was just doing it. And then I came back, came on city council, and just tried to make as much impact as I possibly could. And I love this city of Detroit.
Yo, wait a minute though. But did you, so were you there when Saddam got arrested?
It's crazy because we went after him. I was on the team, and we went after him twice. And what happened was somebody had alerted him that we were coming, so he got away. That third time, when they actually captured him, I said, "Nah, I'm not going this time." And that's when they captured him.
Oh,
That's
you
when
still
they
kicking
captured him.
yourself for
So
that
I
one.
said, yeah, yeah. But it was still just the experience to talk to a lot of people that was in his regime, and to see him, and to see what was going over there in Iraq. So I mean, that was an experience of a lifetime within itself.
Okay, so you come back and you join, you resume your police career.
Yes, sir.
Give me, give me as a native Detroiter who has lived outside of Detroit for some time, also, I do recognize the differences in the police force in Detroit and in other states. Even other states where there is a predominantly black population, it's just not the same.
Right.
What separates for you? What makes the Detroit Police Department different from other departments?
One thing you have to understand is when Coleman Young came into office, his objective was to have the police department be represented by the people. And so therefore that's when he had the big push, which is when I came on to get blacks on the job. And the also, brought in a lot of female officers on the job. So it was about his ideal of how he wanted it. And as time went on, we had different chiefs that had various ideas. But you also have to understand is when you have people that is coming from the community and live in the community, they understand that. And I think that's
Yeah.
one of the problems that we are sometimes challenged with, because at the time you had to live in Detroit if you was a city employee. And definitely, if somebody knew that Brother Jobs was down the street and he was a police officer, he was going to tighten up.
Yeah.
So, that's the difference there, because a lot of us, where we grew up at, we know the people. We know how to talk to people, know how to deal with people. So those
Yeah.
are some of the things we've had. So, and we've had some pretty good chiefs to help us guide us through that.
Yeah, just as a regular citizen, though, the big four kind of ruined the trust between the community and the police a little bit. Took him a while to overcome that. Okay, so 26 years as a cop, right?
Yeah, 24 and a half. But let me go back to the big four. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why Mayor Young wanted to bring in, because there was an incident that happened between the big four and some Wayne County sheriffs and police officers that happened. And that's one of the things that started removing that. So I just wanted to say that that was the beginning of the change of how things was to be.
Okay, all right, that's a fair point. How do you go from policeman? And matter of fact, let me back up. What is leadership? Define leadership for me.
You talking about as far as the structure or the leadership
No, just
itself?
your definition of what leadership is.
Leadership is being is caring. Is caring. It's understanding your the people that work under you,
Mm-hmm.
understand what their strengths, their weaknesses are. When they have issues and problems, they can come to you and speak with you about it. And it's about being firm but fair. I mean, you have to keep people, in order, in line, but you have to do it in a fair manner.
Okay.
It is about, being considerate of what people's issues are, because especially when you're talking about police, you see a lot and you deal with a lot, and it takes a lot on your mind, and you have to be a person that kind of like understands what an individual is going through, both military and police. We have a lot of people that are on substance abuse, whether it's through alcohol or whatever, because of the things that they go through every day. It's a continuous trend. I mean, when you talk about radio and radio sending you this run, that run, and you're going to runs after back to back, and you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
all the kinds of things. I mean, it's really takes a toll on you. And like I said, I was a commanding officer of homicide section, and one of the biggest things that used to kind of like tear me apart was the fact that children. And I mean, that's one of the biggest things that takes a toll. And anybody that says that, well, no, it doesn't mess with me, they're not telling the truth. They're not telling the truth, because if you got some heart, when you see a child that's been brutally
Murdered.
murdered or
Yeah.
abused or whatever, it takes a toll on you. And that's
Do
one
you
of the
still
things that
do you still see the faces?
I'm sorry.
Do you still see the faces?
You do, and yes, you do. I'll say it, because one case was one of the last cases that I dealt with, was a father who did not want to pay pay child support. So what he did was he went to where the child was at a nursery home, and made like he was going there because he wanted to sign his children up for daycare.
Mm-hmm.
Found out where the child was, shot two of the employees, and bludgeoned the child with a table leg. Now, you know, and then what he did, his alibi was he was at the gym, and what he did was he snuck out the gym through the back door, went to do what he had to do, and then came back to the gym like he was always there.
Are
So
you
that's one of the
serious?
cases, which was one of my last cases that I dealt with, that will follow me for the rest of my life, because that baby was so sweet. And to see the child, and to have a child like that, and then you're talking about two of the workers that was there that were shot, and they were in comas. And that's we kind of figured that he had did it,
Mm-hmm.
but there was really no one there to say, because the people that was there was saying, yeah, we seen him. And then when we really started getting into the gym that he was at, people say, well, there was a period where I didn't see him. But when those two ladies came out of their coma and identified that he was the one that shot them, that's what brought it all. So God works in mysterious ways. God is always working.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so how do you get from that to District Two? And I'm sorry, where is District Two?
District 2 goes from 8 Mile to Davidson, Southfield to John R. but it's probably just gonna go from Southfield to Woodward because they've redrawn the lines. And everybody that lives, the zip code is 48203,
Mm-hmm.
48221,
Okay.
48227, 48235, and 48238. And there's about 6 blocks, which is actually in District 1 in 48219. But those are the major zip codes. So when I ask somebody where they live, they say, I'm not really sure. I ask them what their zip code is. And that kind of helps
Okay.
identify.
And so, what made you want to run for office?
What happened was the Urban League had their convention here in the city of Detroit. And again, I was on the police department, and I was the head of security for then John E. Jacobs, who was the president of the Urban League. And
Mm-hmm.
going around with him and looking and seeing how the council people, you're talking about Irma Henderson and folks like that, how they really cared for the people. And I said, boy, I said, when I retire from the police department, I want to be a councilman. And I want to do this because I care about people, and it's always been about service to people, and I love helping people. So, but yeah, I have been, when I came back, I started running for Detroit City Council in 2005. I
Mm-hmm.
ran in 2005, excuse me, I ran in 2009, I ran in 2013, and finally was elected in 2017 because it was just where my heart
Damn.
was.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So you lost 3 times in a row and came back again?
4 times, actually
You
four.
lost. Oh my God, bro.
2005, 2009, 2013. Well, yeah, 3 times. And then I was elected in 2017. That's where my heart is about the city and helping people. So it wasn't about having a position or having a job or anything like that. It's like I wanted to help people and I wanted to be in a position to be the people's voice.
Was it worth it?
Yes, to me it was. To me it was. It
Okay.
was. Because there's a lot of people that ran for jobs when I first started running.
Mm.
And I would say, "Are you gonna run it?" No, no, that's too much. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. But to me, it is. That's why I'm running again. Because
Okay.
when you hear people saying that they are not getting the representation,
Mhm.
they don't have the voice, they don't have the ear of who they elected. That takes effect on me. One of the things that I was really prominent about was District 2 is the highest tax paying and the highest voting district in the city of Detroit. And I always bragged on that. I was so proud of that. And I would just always say we should have a voice in that. And my thing was, Brother Jobs, was the fact when somebody came into District 2, we're gonna tell you what we want. You're not gonna tell us what you're gonna give us. And that was my whole thing. And so therefore I wanted to have a strong base. And that's why I created the Millennial Roundtable so that we can have young people come in and talk about what's going on with them, their
Mhm.
ideas. And what I did was I also combined millennials and baby boomers so they could kind of see what that bridge was. Because a lot of times, our younger generation feel that they should be in these high positions and, they got the energy and everything else. And then our older generation is like, no, it's a step that you go and you process through and you come up. So it was about bridging gaps with that.
Mhm.
I also had a business roundtable where all the businesses came together. If there was a business that was just starting out, well, we was there to help them, to advise them, to help them move forward. I had the presidents and community roundtables, and what that did was that brought everybody together so that everybody in the district knew each other, what our issues was, how do we become that strong foundation, and then I also had the clergy roundtable. The objective was to start that in my first term. And you
Mhm.
have to understand, I did not have a total of 4 years to work on things because of the COVID pandemic. So I really only had 10 years, but I made as much impact as I possibly could, and I was still out there. But the objective was to bring the roundtables, have each of them. I'm saying, look, I'm just creating this. This is y'all's roundtable. You decide what you want to do because each entity was different.
Mhm.
And the objective was to develop a board. And then my next term, what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring the board all together, each one from board members from each one of those roundtables together. And then from there, we wanted to spread out to throughout the city. And then I was going to spread out through the state. And that's the
Okay.
vision that I had.
Let me ask you this: from a policy
Yes.
standpoint, how effective can a council person actually be?
Well, you have to understand when Coleman A. Young, first of all, the major um, agenda or responsibilities for city council
Mm-hmm.
is resolutions and ordinances, subpoena power, and the strongest is the budget. Now, when Coleman, Mayor Young came in, he made the executive branch a very strong part of the city government. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, but the city council, anything over $25,000 must be approved by city council. So the mayor can't just go in and say, "Oh, this is going to get passed. This is going to get passed. That's going to get passed." If it's $25,000 or more, and you know that ain't much money, so it's going to have to come through council. So they have their strong as far as that budget goes.
Mm-hmm. So, are you running for your second term?
No, I was not elected, and this is so funny because what I was not reelected because a lot of people saying, "Well, what happened? We don't know." And I was lost too because I was everywhere, and I wanted to make sure anything that came in the district too, I wanted to know about it, and I wanted to be there because I wanted to hear it firsthand. So,
Mm-hmm.
brother, I was really lost. So as I've started talking to people, people begin to say, "We just thought you was going to automatically win, so we didn't vote." So now they calling me back and say, "Look, we ain't getting that representation that we used to have. You need to run again, and we're gonna make sure that we're gonna vote."
So are you're Democrat?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All my
So
life.
who do you vote? Who are you endorsing for mayor?
I'm not because everyone that's running for mayor, I've either have worked with or I know.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at a number of people to say, I mean, anybody could win this race. There are some that are stronger and there are some that are not. But we're talking about between now and August, that's a long period of time. A lot of things can happen. So, I'm really saying, good luck to you. But I'm mainly concentrating on my race because whoever's the mayor is, I want to be there to not only assist them and make sure that they continue to do for the people, but also I'm looking at, I don't want them to fail because we now have, after 12 years, we'll have a black mayor. And the fact is, I do not want it to be said that you had it during the Coleman era, you had it during the Kwame Kilpatrick era, the Dennis Archer area, and look what happened in the 12 years of the Duggan era, and now that you get it back, now you fail. I don't want that because again, that's about caring about our people and making sure that they're taken care of, and we have the representation there.
Okay, but as a politician, aren't you almost required to say this person I believe would be the best choice? And if they don't win, it doesn't mean you don't like the other person and you can't work with them, but you see a vision that you share with someone more so than the other person. Are
Well,
you
you
not
have to look
required for
at,
that?
no, it's not. I mean, we have to live in the United States, and there has been, I have supported people in the past and been ridiculed about it. But, one of the things I went to the military for was to say, you have the freedom to select and support whoever you want to. You can't just go and say, "Oh, because I'm not supporting you or not, I'm going to support this person." That is wrong because you have to look at. You have thus far that I know of, you have Mr. Josh Hassim, who is a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of business people that might want a business person in there. You have two black females in Mary Sheffield and um, Miss Jenkins, who were both on city council and past presidents. You have, of course, you have James Craig in there, who was a police chief. You have Pastor Solomon Kinlock. People might say we need some religion in there. So, there's a lot of ideas in there, that could be prominent to help move the city forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, no, it's not a thing where you're saying, oh, I'm going with this person, I'm going with it, because everybody brings something to the table. And that's what it's all about. And it's mainly up to the people to decide who they want. And we support what the people say and just work with them.
Okay, and this is a question I ask everybody, totally unrelated to nothing. But you're sitting on a park bench, and God sits down next to you. He
Hmm.
or she tells you you can ask them one question. What would it be?
Why are we going through what we're going through in this world?
That would be an interesting conversation right there.
Yeah. Why are we going through what we're going through in this world? Because you are the overseer of everybody. And we don't question God. I mean, people that has been in religion, you don't question God, and God doesn't make any mistakes. But just let me know,
I
why are we going
disagree.
through?
I disagree.
You disagree?
I've always disagreed. I think we are supposed to question God.
Well, the fact of the matter is that you look at God, and that's been the old term, old tradition, that you don't question God. But we know we all do,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
when somebody dies, the first question is, God, why him? Why her?
Exactly. Yes.
Why this child? So you still
Yes.
do question God.
Yes.
And it's just, is God doing this because we've turned our back on him? We're not listening to his word. He want to wake us up. I mean, that would be the question I would ask.
Okay, so it, it- I'm gonna do a show coming up about the state of Black America under Donald Trump.
Hmm.
Where are we as a community under him? Is
Say
he
that.
is he? Where are we as a community under Trump? Is he slowly but surely unifying us in his racist ideology?
Not now, but it's going to come into fruition, because on the one hand, we as Black folks, brother guys, we have always been sustainable. We've always been able to understand. I mean, our ancestors that came from Africa and then came here, they had to survive. They knew what they needed to do. And technically, when you talk, and I talked about this about to a lot of younger people, when you look at slaves, the only problem with slaves was they didn't understand the system, the process. They knew how to cook, they knew how to farm, they knew how to build, they knew how to do everything there was. And they tried, even with trying to keep Black folks down without allowing them to read, they still was able to do things, because they was able to do things that their slave masters and people that's overseeing them didn't know how to do themselves. So we've always been survivors. But now that Donald Trump is coming in, all those who were saying, oh, yeah, we're going to make America great again. And now that he's putting all these tariffs on everybody, now everybody's going to start to suffer, because what did he run on? Well, one of the things that he ran on was the economy. Oh, I'm going to make food prices lower. Oh, we're going to drop the economy, you know? And now we see the economy gets ready to take off. And this man ain't even been in office 60 days. So yes, it is going to bring folks together, because they're going to, when it starts hitting them and looking at things, that's what is going to affect them. And let me say about looking at things and seeing things. We were in emergency finance. And I'm gonna tell you, I still say that we were not. When you're talking about the police department and fire department, let me go back. Let me build up. In order to be financially straight in your unions and in your benefits, you have to have at least 70%. 70%.
Okay.
So when you're talking about the general fund has 72%, when you're talking about police and fire had 96.4%, but then you're talking about Merck, which is the state, had only 49%. Please tell me, how does an inferior take over two superiors? That's the first thing. The second thing, when you look at when we was in financial mercy, a lot of our voices was taken from us. That was part of the plan.
Yeah.
So therefore, we have to make sure that we still survive and we still made it through, because from the time from the automotive to the fashion to the emergency management, the nation has always looked at Detroit to see how we do it and how we survive. And we come out ahead of everybody, no matter what is thrown at us. So it's going to be, yeah, it's going to come together, and folks are going to come together with that. So,
And
when we look at this, go
the
ahead, sir. I'm
whole
sorry.
the whole emergency takeover thing, from my viewpoint, was about the water, downtown, and general control take back that Coleman Young had displayed. Like, he was open about how strong he was, not only in Detroit but in the area,
Yes, sir.
and they hated that shit, and they never forgot.
Yes, sir. And see, Brother John, what the point I brought up about the emergency manager is the fact that the emergency is the fact that unless or until it affects them, they don't care. And that's what's happening with Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Yes.
What they're doing does not affect them. And a prime example that I use regarding this is, God bless his soul, L. Brooks Patterson. When L. Brooks Patterson was very big on putting a cap on insurance. But when he got in that accident and now it affected him, what did he do? Oh, heck, we can't put a cap on that because now it's affecting him. And that's how things is going. So that when everybody is looking at this, and now that it's going to start affecting them, it goes back to your initial statement about us coming together. And that's what's going to happen.
What do you see for Detroit in the next 10 years?
We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to grow, but we have to have one of the things that I did, especially with my Millennial Roundtable, is to train, teach, and give our young people that experience.
Okay.
Because when you and I step back, we have to pretend that baton off, and they have to be fully prepared to take the lead. And we're going to continue on because when they go up and they start looking at things and trying to take over Detroit, we have to put the people, and I've been saying this actually since 2004, we have to make sure that people are in place to continue on. And when you get in that position, grab somebody behind you and pull them up and do the same. So I think we're going to be all right, but we just have, especially, we have to get people in place that still cares about Detroit. One of the things I always say is Detroit loves everybody, but don't everybody love Detroit?
Yeah, and it seems to me that there, downtown Detroit and Detroit are completely two different things. And
Yes.
downtown Detroit is pretty much the Illich family and Dan Gilbert.
Well, look at it like this. You have the two that you mentioned, Dan Gilbert and the Illiches. You have Gore. You have the Fords. You have the Penskes. And so there really is all in that area. All in that area when you think about it. And anything that goes on and goes through, they have some their hands on it.
But how do we get that to benefit the actual communities?
One of the things that I did when I was in office prior was I always said, look, I understand you got to make money. That's your job. That's your objective. But you got to put money, or you got to put benefits back into our communities, back into the city of Detroit. You can't just take it and then run with it. And that's the same thing with contractors. One of the biggest things that I did was I wanted to make sure that our infrastructure was going on. We did that. I wanted to make sure that our communities was going strong. We did that. When I came in, we had the streetscape on Livernois. And one of the things that I told the business owners, look, we got to get some side funding because something might come up and it's going to affect you. A lot of them didn't listen. And this came from my experience of running the 5 northern provinces of Iraq. And they didn't listen. And then when that streetscape came in, they didn't have the funding. A lot of places closed up. A lot of places that was trying to open up couldn't open up because the money just wasn't coming through. So we got to start thinking about what are we doing? We got to be proactive, not reactive. And that's how we do things.
Any thoughts on being city council president after you win?
Say it again.
Any thoughts on being city council president after you win?
Yes, yes, yes. I think about it.
How does that work? Like you just you know you guys the city council vote on who the president will be.
What happens was prior to them going to districts, the president and pro tem was the two highest vote getters in the
Got it.
city. Well, see, they can't do that now. So now what happens is that the city council votes on who the president and the pro tem will be. Because when I was on council, I nominated both Brenda Jones, who was the council president, and Mary Sheffield, who was a pro tem. Because I was looking at somebody that had experience, and then I was also looking at somebody that's going to be in the future, just like I said, building them up so they'd have those tools.
Like, how do you know when and where to spend political capital? Is it just instinct?
I would say yes, because like I said, I don't know if some of it is instinct, but a lot of it is my experience. Like I said, when you're talking about running the 5 northern provinces of Iraq, that's like running counties. A province is like a county.
Okay.
And so what I had to deal with, I had to deal with language barriers, foreigners, because you had third world people coming there working there. I had to deal with Americans working there, and I had to deal with the military. So I had to bring all those folks together so that we could work together. And just like District 2 is, like I said, it's just phenomenal because you have people that live in $1 million houses and you have people that live in houses that are shacks. So the
Wait a minute,
person that lives in the
what part of
house
this? I'm
that's a
sorry, but what part of District Two is $1 million houses?
Sherwood Forest,
Oh, you got Sherwood
University
Ford.
District,
Oh, you got the money
Palmer
people. Yeah,
Woods.
yeah, yeah. Let me shut up, then. My
So
bad.
yeah. So, you have to look at and you got to be flexible. So, what the ideals of people in Sherwood Forest and Palmer Woods is going to be different from my folks down on Linwood and Puritan. The
Man, listen.
ideas. So, I got to look at that's why you have to be versatile and be out there so that you can hear and see what's going on. And that's how you make those funds be allocated.
Okay, but
So, it's
are
some
they
of
are
it's
they
an
actually going
instinct.
to vote? Are they really going to vote on Linwood and Dexter?
Uh, Brother, that's a difficult question to answer because I'm not there. Because a lot of times, when I was there, I would talk to my colleagues and I would say, look, what's your reason on this? What is your ideas? And what I would do, especially if it was happening in somebody else's district, I would go to them and say, what's your position on this? So it's a little difficult for me to ask that question because I don't know what the mindset of our council people are at this time.
Okay. What do you expect out of the next council?
I expect us to move forward because what you have to understand is you're going to need somebody in there that has the experience, the knowledge, and the forthwith, because you're talking about a whole new administration. And I don't care who it is, they're going to come in, they're going to have probably new directors. You got to have somebody build those working relationships with them to devise them to say, look, we need to do this, we need to do that. So it's about that mindset of a whole new administration, after 12 years. So you got to look at that. Then you got to look at also as far as dealing with, because the following year, you're going to have a governor's race. Who's going to be in that position? Because one of the things I say about that is a concern is the financial review team is still hovering over us. That financial review team is in existence until 2028. The governor can extend them. The governor can come in and say, if they feel that Detroit is not doing what they want, they can say Detroit's going into financial emergency. What that does, it takes away the people's voice because you're taking away the council to be able to have that voice. It takes away the voice of the unions. That's what happened in that. So see, these are the things that I'm already looking at to say we got to make sure that we get the right folks in these positions. And we got to make sure that we build those reports, not only at the municipal level, which is both the city and the county, but also at that state level and at that federal level, especially at the federal level because it's dangerous. And I ain't got to go into that, you know.
Oh boy, it's not looking good. Unless you got money. If you got money, it's probably going to be a great 4 years for you.
But it might not be, because if you understand the oligarch system, they can go in and say, "But Jobs, I see you got $2 million in the bank. I want 500,000 of that." What you
Yeah,
gonna say? See what I'm saying?
ain't no choice.
So it might not be
You
good.
gonna pay it.
Just like all these tariffs that he's put on,
Hmm.
all these automotive industries and all these people are now calling and say, "Whoa, wait a minute, put a hold on that. How you gonna do this? You killing us. You getting ready to kill the automotive. Actually, you getting ready to kill tourism. You getting ready to kill everything with this. Because these tariff wars is going to tear not only this country, but you're talking about, and that's why I can't understand why they're going. You have our two biggest allies, Canada and Mexico. A lot of things come out of there. And then you're going to put tariffs on them, and then you don't put no tariffs on Russia, and then you put a 10% tariffs on China, which holds a lot of our debts. And so these are the things that we have to start looking at. We can't just look at it because it's no more longer about areas or regions. It's now bigger.
Mm.
It's national. It's international. It's
Yo, that is
global.
crazy. How
It
you gonna owe
is.
somebody some money and then charge them for doing business? That's crazy
Exactly.
work. That's some
It's
balls on you right there. Yo,
exactly.
do you ever turn the politician off?
Do I?
Yes.
No, none of us do. None of us do. Because when
Really?
people say, "Oh, I don't get into politics," every time you make a decision on some things, that's politics. Because you have to make decisions on life. Whether you want to decide how long you're going to sleep in and when you're going to take out, you got to decide. It's decisions. But the difference is when you in these elected positions, but jobs, you making decisions for people and how it affects people. And that's why I say when your initial question, what got me into to run for city council is because of the people that I've seen and they made an impression and that did something to me that say I want to do the same thing because that's the way my parents brought me up. Take care of people, look out for people, take care of your family, make sure everybody's all right.
Now I grew up on 7 Mile in Southfield, and when I grew up, well manicured, it was people own their houses by and large, families,
Yes, sir.
a lot of two-parent households. It looks like a bomb has dropped on 7 Mile in Southfield as of
Yes,
today.
sir. Yes, sir.
How do we fix that?
Well, what has to happen is, and it's bad to say it, and there's nothing wrong with it, but Detroit has turned into a lot of renters now. You have
Mm,
people that have moved out. They still may have their home because of what happened in 2008. They still may have the home, so they're renting it out. You have renters that are there. Renters don't really understand what home ownership is all about. They don't understand that, it's about making sure that grass is cut, picking up the paper that's on your lawn, talking to your neighbor. I mean, you got neighbors that don't even speak to each other. It's about that camaraderie, it's about coming together. And so these are the things that we have to assist renters to do and assist them and educate them on being homeowners, you know. So we got to bring that capital in to work. We got so many. I'm just now when you said my head is spinning now. We got so many abandoned buildings. We got so many vacant dwellings that a lot of it shouldn't be like that. We got skilled trade alliance that can come in, do their internship, building up these buildings, these abandoned schools, getting them together. That's a
yeah,
win-win situation. They are getting that training to do their skill, and now you're bringing up a building that's just sitting there and that could be
absolutely.
useful.
Yeah.
So these are the visions that I'm looking at, and that's how we can do that, brother Giles. How do it's like that yin and yang? It's a continuous circle. How do we keep that going? How do we make things happen? How do
Uh,
we make
uh,
it beneficial to our people?
at some point, you got to put a cap on outside entities coming in and buying numerous properties too.
Oh yeah, I mean that was one of the things that I was mainly against, because not only do you have people that live outside of Detroit, outside of Michigan, you got people that live outside the country that owns property.
Yes.
And so therefore, they're just sitting back thinking that, and it is, I mean, the property taxes is going up and property value is going up, but they're sitting back waiting so they can get it at the right time and sell it. Well, no, either fix this property up, do something with it, or we're taking it. Bottom line.
That part. And that's exactly how it should be. Um, how, the school system, the public school system in Detroit, has just been bad for a long time. Is it salvageable?
It is. But we have to bring in, it's just like it's just like our leadership. We have to bring in people that care. We have to pay people what they're worth. Because what is happening, Brother Giles, when you have second graders that are reading at 28%, when you have eighth graders whose math skills is at 28%, they're not gonna make it.
No.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they would say, "Yeah, we got to, we can do this, we can do this." I said, "But first we got to make sure that they're able to read and they have the skills, because we can't do it, but it can be done. But we got to make sure that we bring in the good qualified teachers, and we got to reduce these. Going back to the schools we just talked about, let's open up more schools. Why it's difficult for a teacher to try to teach 35 to 40 students in their classroom. I talk to teachers and they say out of a 50-minute period, it takes them at least 25 to 30 minutes just to get order. So now you got 20 minutes to teach these kids, and the next thing you know, the bell is ringing and they moving on. And then the next class got to do the same thing. So it's again, it's that combined process. So it's not just the school system, but we also have to have our parents taken care of and making sure they understand. Their WC3, Chancellor Ivory has a program where people, if they can't read or something like that, they have a program for that. Well, let's put them in there, because what happens a lot of times is I found out that if a parent can't read or they don't understand, what they'll do is they'll brush it off or they'll keep it from their child because they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
Well, let's break that. Let's help them out. Let's help everybody out. And let's start moving forward. You know, a lot of our young people, they do crime, but they still listen. I've talked to a lot of young people, and you think, oh man, I ain't gonna talk to this kid or this young lady. They just something, but you talk to them, they listen.
Yeah.
They listen. I was on. I wanted to tell this story. When I was on council, I was driving by, and it was five brothers coming out of this like a gas station restaurant, and the brother ate and he just threw it on the ground. So but I couldn't let that go, because this is my city. We got to clean. So I drove up, and I never said I was a councilman. I never said I used to play in the police department. I never said that. I said, hey brother, that what you threw down there, man, that's kind of messing up the neighborhood. At first they were very aggressive. They were.
Right.
But brother, as I kept talking to him, it took me 48 minutes. But they finally picked it up, because they came out, well, that's their job. I said, brother, when they come out their store, they're going either going out to Sterling Heights, Bloomfield Hills, wherever.
Yeah.
They don't care. And if by the time they come out, that stuff's going to be spread all over the neighborhood. So, it's about talking to them. And then when you talk to them and then you reason with them, they get it. The brother went and picked it up, put it in there, and we thanked each other, you know. But like I said, they initially it was great. They wanted to fight. Who are you? Whoa, brother. Whoa, now.
Well, that was very cop-ish. I'm not gonna lie. Like he pulled over
Yeah.
the
But
food
not
on the
only was
ground.
it accomplish, but not only was it accomplished, but it was also about caring, because it is. I rode the buses, and they were talking about how nasty the buses were. So I'm riding the buses, just to ride, not necessarily needed to ride, just to ride to see how things go. So this brother was eating some chicken and fries, and he just threw it on the floor. And I said, brother, it's kind of nasty. Oh, that's what they here for. They supposed to clean it up. I say, brother, I say, by the time this man get to the end of the line, how many people are going to come on this bus and look at that and say, oh, these buses is nasty.
Yeah.
But it's not the buses. It's something that you, brother, don't
Yeah.
take
It's
pride
people.
in it, and you throw it down yourself.
Yeah. The
But
buses
he
don't
still got
come
he
with
never
chicken
left.
bones attached.
Oh yeah, he just ate it and threw it,
That's crazy.
fried, threw it
On the bus.
on the bus.
Oh, that's wild work right there.
But see, that's what I'm saying. When you talk about the bus being nasty, it's about our pride
Yeah.
and it's about what we're doing. And if we don't talk and start saying, "Look, we got to come together to take care of our own," then it's not going to be taken care of.
Well, as
So
someone
these
who
are the
has
things that I'm
littered,
looking at. I'm
I
sorry.
must I said as someone who has littered repeatedly, I'm gonna work on that. I never really thought
Okay.
about it that way. I was one of those people. It's somebody else's job, it'll be okay. And
Right.
then I would kind of like I would litter, but not inside the city limits. Like if I go in the suburbs, I'm littering all day. But inside the city limits, no, I'm not gonna do it. But if somebody wants to donate to your campaign, how do they go about doing that?
They can go to Mccallister, Mccalister D2.com. That's Mccallister, Mccallister D2.com. And I look more for it. And also, if anyone's listening that lives in those zip code areas, I would like to come out and do home visits because to me, Brother Jobs is about being personally engaged with people, you know, talking to people, hearing what your ideas, because you and I might think of something and somebody else might say, what about this? And we like, whoa, I didn't even think of that. So
Yeah,
it's
you
about,
better
and
than
then,
me.
you have people that have issues and, everybody's issue is important, no matter how large or how small, it's important.
Yeah.
So McAllister, MCCALISTER D2.com. And please, I would love to come to your home and do a group meeting with you and talk to you.
Yeah, that is him. I'm not coming to your house. I don't like y'all like that. I'm just saying. On
No,
that
I'm
note,
talking
man.
about coming to their home, coming to
Yeah,
like
I'm
their block
saying.
club.
You
Yeah.
better than me. Ain't no way I'm going to nobody's house. I don't want to listen to your problems that bad. See, that's why I can't be a politician. Like some of
But
y'all
see,
just be
but see,
talking.
brother,
I'm
and that's
cool.
that's the thing. That's the thing. One thing I tell, especially I tell my young people, look, I'm not gonna be here forever, and a lot of politicians don't think like that. I'm not gonna be here forever. So my job is to train you so you can take over to the next step. My job
Absolutely.
is as a politician to listen to you and say, hey, what's the issue? What's your issues? Let's look into it. One thing I want to say also is they had a district office when I was in office. That came out of my pocket because I wanted the people to be able to come somewhere, get their issues, concerns addressed, and somebody get back with them. And they know that.
That's what's up, man. That's a beautiful thing. And if nobody else has told you today, I am proud of you, sir. On that
Thank you so
note,
much.
I'm gonna let you
Please
go.
keep me in prayer.
Oh, absolutely. And if there's anything I could possibly do for you, please let me know. I'm certain that there isn't, but if there is, I got you.
And the same thing here. If, like you said, you have another podcast, I would love to come there and talk about the state of Black culture.
Oh, absolutely. I got you. On that note, man, you have a phenomenal evening on purpose.
Thank you so much.
All right, peace. Oops, my bad. And this has been another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio. My name is Jobs. I thank you for tuning in today. Anarlia, I gotta look at the bottom of my glasses to see. That's an interesting name, Gnarly. Shout out to you. A good politician cares about their constituents, and it seems like you do, which is really good. And that was in reference to Mr. McCallister Jr. Good luck in your endeavors. I hope you win, bruh. And I get a free ticket somewhere. No, I'm just messing with you. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't want no free shit. On that note, anyway, this is Jobs, and I am out. Y'all have a good one. I'll be back next week at 5 o'clock. Peace.